Welcome to Coast to Coast Sports, the college football edition. I'm your host, Joey Caulo. Today we have a full slate of analysis as we recap ASU's big victory over number 5 in the nation, Washington, preview their Saturday matchup this week in Salt Lake City against Utah, as well as all the other big matchups across the nation this weekend. Let's get to it. So guys, last weekend, 4 top 10 teams bite the dust. Now, this is why I love college football as opposed to pro football. Pro football is nice, but you don't have these massive upsets. You don't have number 2 Clemson losing to Syracuse. You don't have Washington State getting blown out by a Cal team that was under 500. LSU has a big victory against Auburn, and of course the nightcap. ASU is able to get it done. Blackout Washington, storm on the field. So what was your biggest takeaway last week? It could be about ASU, could be nationally. We'll start with you, Jacob.
Well, I'm going to go with Jake Browning on this one. Maybe he isn't the quarterback that everyone thought he was. Mm-hmm. He looked rattled against this very porous ASU defense. Yeah. So if he looked porous against ASU's defense, how will he look? Let's say they make it to the national championship game. How are they going to look against a defense like that?
Well, I think that's very true, but at the same time, you got to give ASU's defense some credit. Yes, Washington didn't play up to their full ability, but the defense, the way they were flying around, I mean, you just look on the outside how they were covering guys. They have, Washington has Dante Pettis, who is definitely a first 1 or 2 round draft pick. He was shut down. I think he only had 2 or 3 catches. I mean, the guys stepped up. I mean, guys you're not expecting to step up, first-time starters, freshmen, sophomores. They were able to go up against Washington and really push them around. The defensive line had a lot of success. What was your takeaway from that 13-7 win?
There's 3 phases in football: offense, defense, and special teams. ASU definitely won the special teams.
Yes.
There was a curveball kick, I like to call it. It was going outside, and then it somehow went inside, and then the Washington's kicker missed 2 chip shots. Like, you could take them with your left foot,
true.
and then you still make them. And so ASU played well there, and then their defense was stifling.
Yeah.
Their defense was stifling. A couple plays when they did those little short passes to the side, ASU was all over them, and that's what helped to win the game, because it was, 14-10? Yeah.
13-7, but yes, a low-scoring game. I mean, we sat here on this show last week. We didn't even pick the game. We were just saying, is it going to be close? Is it going to be within 20? And I thought, maybe we'll play really well, ASU will play really well and get it within 2 touchdowns. Instead, they won. So that brings us to the next thing here. Do you think it's a big fluke, little fluke, or no fluke at all? What do you guys think?
Well, I don't think it is a fluke. We played up to our best capabilities, and I think we can do this week in and week out. We just need to come in with that mindset that ASU came in with on last Saturday. So I don't think it's a fluke at all.
No fluke at all.
No fluke at all.
I'm calling it a home fluke.
A home fluke.
So a home fluke. We beat Oregon at home. ASU rather. ASU beat Oregon at home, and now we beat Washington at home. So they're playing really good at home, but how are they going to do on the road? How are they going to do on the road? They're playing Utah this week. Is it going to be the same way they played here? I don't think so. I mean, their defense has played well, but most of the time their defense doesn't keep anyone under 20. They got lucky to keep them under 10.
Definitely. And this was the best offense that ASU has probably faced up to this week. Now, just an interesting side note here. Advanced sabermetrics, or whatever you want to call it, has ASU thus far has the 4th toughest schedule in the nation played yet. Really, outside of New Mexico State, every single team since then has been ranked at one point or another, has some solid players, has some solid NFL prospects, and this week's going to be no different with Utah. And just one more note on that. After the game, Todd Graham, one of the big preaching point after the game was to the defense when he gave out the game ball, and he said, now this isn't a fluke. This is how we're supposed to play. This is how you play defense at ASU. This is really the culture here. We play defense first, and he's a defensive guy. So he said, we'll bring that into this week. We'll see what happens against Utah. Now, ASU, obviously not easy going on the road ever. Salt Lake City's not an easy place to play, a little bit higher elevation. Weather could be a little funky out
Supposed
there.
to be 49 degrees.
I think 49.
49.
It's pretty chilly. It is a day kick, which I always believe when you're on the road, you want to be during the day. You don't want to be waiting in the hotel room. You don't want the other fans to have more time to get ready for the game and drink and get louder. So I think it's good that the kickoff's going to be so early. But with Utah here, they're a good team. They were ranked all season, but they lost to SC last week. They lost to Stanford the week before by just 3 points. So this is a quality opponent. What do they do well, or what do you see ASU maybe having trouble with against Utah tomorrow?
Well, Utah always has a good running back. Always, every single season for the past, for God knows how
last year
long,
it was
you know?
just Devontae Booker, and they
Devontae
had
Booker, Joe Williams
last year.
So, and ASU does struggle still with the running game. I know we stopped Miles Gaskins last week, who's a very quality running back. But I think Utah's going to come and is going to pound the ball on this defense that might struggle a little bit stopping it.
Yeah. Well, last week, that was one of the big things was ASU was able to stop the run kind of for the first time. I think Washington had just about 100 yards or just over that in rushing, which you take that all day. What do you see Utah doing tomorrow?
Well, ASU was able to stop the run, and they were also able to stop those little baby screen passes, which is huge because in football, they try and get you sideline to sideline. And so they were trying to get them sideline to sideline, and ASU wasn't having any of it. Their linebackers are coming up, playing well. But Utah always has a good running back, and they always have a good defense. I remember when USC beat them, they're always a good team, but they're never a great team. That's how I feel about Utah. They always might be ranked in like the top 20, above top 10, but never like below that for the whole season.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that has to go for Bronco Mendenhall. Recruiting, you don't have a lot of talent in Utah. You got to go to California. You got to go elsewhere to find your players. So he's kind of done a good job of consistently getting a team to win 8 or 9 games in the tough Pac-12. We'll see. I mean, I think there's a lot of question marks going into this game tomorrow. This is the halfway point of the season. Obviously, ASU's 3-3 at the perfect halfway point. The ideal amount of wins anytime is 6 wins. So if they do exactly what they've done thus far, that's technically a success. Even though you'd like to see,
debatable. That's debatable. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, but that's debatable. For Todd Graham, I guess that's good enough.
You got to make a bowl game. That's the most important thing.
I agree.
So where do we kind of see this going from here? First, we'll give each of you give me 2 predictions. Give your prediction tomorrow. Utah, by the way, is favored by 10. What do you see happening there? And then what about the remainder of the season, the next 6 games?
Well, tomorrow's going to be a tough game for ASU. I think they are going to be coming into this game with, a little bit of a boosted ego because they did beat Washington last week.
Had the fans on the field.
They had the fans on the field, the storm,
the blackout game.
But I do think Utah will pull this one out. It's going to be a very good game. I feel like it's going to be back and forth. It might be a little bit of a defensive battle too, but I do think Utah will pull this out. And when it comes to the rest of the season, I do think ASU is a bowl team. I think we're not going to get one of those premier bowls, obviously, but
a bowl is better than no bowl.
Exactly. You couldn't have said any better.
And then another thing with bowl, even if it's the Motel 6 bowl down the street at Chase Field, that's still another 2-3 weeks of practice to get your guys ready.
Guys, that's not good enough for ASU. We're a Pac-12 school. It's just like you said. We have fourth best or 4th hardest schedule. That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Well, what do you see? What's happening?
I think Utah's going to win. I mean, I hate to agree with Jacob over here, but I think Utah's going to win. I mean, they have a good defense, and playing away from home is really hard for ASU this year. Manny Wilkins has showed me a lot. I really like the guy, but he doesn't play as well away from home, and he doesn't. I think it's going to be more like a 24-17 game, kind of grind out game. I think Utah's going to have more of a lead, because they're going to run and just wear that clock down, wear it down.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do after that?
We'll see. So for remainder, how many wins you got down this last 6-game stretch? How many are they getting?
Dude, all I think of when I think of Todd Graham is that Southwest commercial where they're like, "Oh, guys, I got tickets for next week," and it's like, "Oh, we lost this game. We gotta go home." That's all I think about. I think they might get. I don't even know, man. They're not playing well. They're not playing well. They get good games at home, but they're not playing well.
We'll see. Well, I have a little bit more optimism. I do think ASU's, going on the road, gonna beat Utah, and the main reason being, you can say that maybe it was a little fluke, maybe we played the game of their lives thus far, But I think a win like that, when you beat a top 5 team, that changes the entire outlook of the season. You lose that game, you're 2-4, you're kind of sleepy, you're probably not gonna make a bowl game, you gotta walk into Utah, it's not looking good. But you get your guys to buy in and believe, which they should be doing at this point after beating Washington. I got a lot of confidence. I think it will be low scoring. I kind of feel a little bit more of a running style game. But I think ASU is going to take the cake tomorrow, 27-24. So bold prediction. As far as the rest of the season, I think there's 2 more losses on the schedule. I think SC at home and then 1 more flop game. Maybe it's Oregon State on the road. You got to play UCLA on the road. But other than that, I think ASU takes care of business outside of the SC game.
This year, last week too.
And U of A is definitely not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah.
We'll see. There's a lot to be seen. The Pac-12, just like every year, everybody beats everybody. So
Pac-12 is a good conference, man.
Yeah.
Good conference.
Definitely. Well, we'll stick with a Pac-12 game. We'll move nationally here now. After last week, there weren't any ranked versus ranked matchups. Well, we got a couple big ones this week. We'll start with SC going on the road at number 11 Notre Dame. I believe SC's ranked 11th, or it's flip-flopped. Either way, two very good teams with good players at the quarterback position. What do you see happening there?
I think SC is going to win simply because of Sam Darnold.
Who hasn't looked great.
Has he not looked great, or has he not had the best utilities around him? Let's be honest. The last game I really remember, I know Notre Dame and USC play every year, but Bush Push. Come on. The Bush Push game was amazing. Is it going to be another game like that? That's one of the best college football games I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely.
And I think USC is just better equipped to take down Notre Dame. Notre Dame's playing well, but they're kind of sputtering, I guess would be the word for me.
I think Notre Dame is, well, they're doing what Notre Dame does. If they win a few games, they're going to be ranked high. I mean, it does not matter. If they get a couple wins, they're going to be ranked high. I think this is a case of Notre Dame getting that publicity and buzz. Now, if they win tomorrow and all of a sudden their one loss is to a excellent Georgia team by 1 point and they beat SC, now maybe you can talk to them about contenders. But as of right now, I'm not really buying their stock. I think SC will take care of it. Where do you see that going?
This is my upset of the week, actually. If you want to call it an upset, it's only by 2 points, whatever. But USC will take care of business against this Brian Kelly team. Brian Kelly, I want to say he's kind of worn out his welcome in South Bend. I know he's having a good season, but SC I think they're going to be too much to contain. Sam Darnold he might not be having a great season, as you guys mentioned, but he still is a premier talent in college football. Then you got Ronald Jones, the running back, who is another guy that's going to be looking to be drafted high, and he could tear up this Notre Dame defense. So SC, I do think, will go into South Bend and come out of South Bend as victors.
Okay, so we got a clean sweep for SC. Now, game day, the big college game day game is going to be number 19 Michigan, who for most of the season was ranked in the top 10. They had a loss a couple weeks ago that bumped them out, versus number 2 Penn State. That's going to be a big game, and this is really Saquon Barkley's already had a couple chances to get the Heisman buzz up, and he's got a lot of Heisman. Tomorrow, he's going to have all the eyes on him. He's got a primetime game. He has a big game. I think the Heisman's pretty much done up, no matter what Bryce Love does. What do you see happening with the Wolverines and the Nittany Lions tomorrow?
Well, Michigan, I think it's my upset of the week. I think Michigan's going to win. They're a very physical football team, very physical. And Penn State's number 2 because Clemson lost. I still think Clemson is still number 2, but they're both playing each other. I don't know if it's Michigan or Penn State.
It's at Penn State.
It's at Penn State.
It'd be Happy Valley.
But Michigan travels so well because of Harbaugh. He's a great coach, and he teaches them to be physical on the line. And that's what they've been all year. And so what they're going to do is I think they're going to push around Penn State, and I think they're just going to be able to get in the backfield all the time. And I don't think Penn State's going to be able to really start an offense.
Well, perhaps, but they've had trouble. Last week against Indiana, who is at best a mediocre. They're 6-6 at best. They struggled overtime. John O'Korn, their
Barely
new
got out of
quarterback. He missed some open passes. We see. I mean, I doubt they'll play better because they're going to be on the road at Penn State. Usually Harbaugh will have them ready to go, but man, I don't know. I don't know if I trust that quarterback enough for them to win on the road. What do you got?
That's where I'm going with this. So even if they still had spite, I still think Penn State would have won. O'Korn has not shown anything so far to prove that he is the future of that program. I just think Penn State's too much. They are a great team. They're a fun team, exciting. They're something that us college football fans really need, you know? And Saquon Barkley, as you said, if he does have a big game, you're going to see him in New York, and he's going to be hoisting that trophy, the Heisman Trophy.
So based off that, you got Heisman. Your winner right now, Saquon Barkley?
Saquon Barkley is my Heisman winner, and I do have Penn State beating Michigan. I just think they're going to be too much for Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
His team's not as talented as what people, think.
Well, I think what it goes to is, like, I'm not picking Saquon Barkley, I'm picking Harbaugh. Because if you remember the Niners and Ravens when the brother Super Bowl happened, what happened when the lights went out? Harbaugh coached them up.
True.
And that's what he's going to do this week. He's going to coach them up, and they're going to be really ready for this matchup. I think they're going to win just because of what's going to happen, but who knows?
Absolutely. That'll definitely shake up the nation. Other than that, so those are your two upset picks of the week. Since I went with kind of the two more favorites there, I'm going to go with my upset tomorrow. Number 10, Oklahoma State. They did have that one loss against TCU, but since then they've righted the ship. They got to play at Texas tomorrow, who's 3-3, not the best record, but I got Texas winning that game. Texas historically does very, very well against Oklahoma State at home. Even when UT's been down as a program, they've still been able to find a way to beat Oklahoma State. Herman will have his team ready to go. And the Big 12 kind of shows some similarities to the Pac-12 in that any team can kind of beat any team on any given week. I mean, OU, who's probably the best team in that conference, has lost to Iowa State.
Yep.
So who knows what happened there. It'll be a very busy Saturday, as always. I hope you guys have plenty of time to kick back on the couch and check it all out. The ASU game will kick off at 12:30 Pacific time tomorrow up in Salt Lake. But that's all we have time for this week, folks. Be sure to check us out every Friday for the College Football Scoop. For Ryan Sundeen and Jacob Lev, I'm Joey Caulo. See you guys next week.